Why would you want the abstract class to have a non-abstract method like that? Bleh. Shouldn't bleh at least be virtual? A method should not be virtual unless you intend for the behavior to be overridden. That's a very important thing about object-oriented programming. There's actually an interesting article, it was either John Skeet or Eric Lippert, who talked about the design decision to not make every method virtual by default in C#. And the reasoning was more about you should be explicit about those sort of things because there are members that do require everything to be just right for them to work. Now, as much as we love to write code that is very robust and stable, the fact is there are a variety of times where we write code that depends on a very specific set of circumstances before it can execute properly. And by allowing people to override the methods in your base class, you are opening yourself up to a situation where your class, your original class, your base class, is making assumptions about how those methods work. But another person, the child, is actually changing the definitions of what those methods are. And you'll run into many situations where you will inadvertently break otherwise functioning code because you overloaded or overrode something that shouldn't have been overrode, or you didn't keep everything in mind about what that method should exactly do.
It's always better to say you must do this than to say, yeah, you can do this if you want. Because then people will do this if they want or not and end up breaking things.
Yeah, and in particularly, so yeah, you wouldn't want, you don't need to make every method that you write virtual. Because that'll break things eventually down the line. Now, why would I want this method bleh right here? Well, frankly, I wouldn't. And if I didn't, then I could have this be an interface. But we're going to be talking about interfaces next week. The only difference between an interface and an abstract class is an abstract class can have methods with some functionality on them. Well, and also you can inherit or you can implement multiple interfaces.